Now, this is specifically for my entrepreneur friends. As long as you're an entrepreneur, this is going to affect you. And, my thoughts on the fact that Corona is here are that, yes, it is here. We got to do whatever it takes to look after ourselves. People are going to die. There's no question about it. I am hoping and praying that yours are looked after and that we do what we have to do to make sure that we look after ourselves. I have another video. I think there'll be a link down here about how you can survive, how you can look after yourself. But this one is specifically how entrepreneurs do thrive in scary times, okay? Yes, there's a crisis. Yes, it's going to affect us, and the repercussions of this are not going to be felt until 3, 6 to 12 months. That is when you're really going to feel it as an entrepreneur. And I just wanted to say, hey, this has happened before, okay? This has happened before, and as an entrepreneur, it is not new, okay? What people don't understand from an entrepreneur point of view is that if you're a leader, an entrepreneur, you always have crises, okay? You always have situations where there's no sales, there's no money coming in, a client has pulled up on you, and this is always happening, and you're always bouncing back. You're always finding ways of thriving, and this is just to take it a notch up, okay? Wow. My take is that with this coronavirus, the first responders, the most positive people, the people who have got to lead have got to be entrepreneurs. So first things first, first thing you have to do is to be the number one person to lead, to respond, to say, you know what? I am going to respond positively. I am going to galvanize everybody around me. I'm going to have a positive attitude, and I'm going to say, you know what? It is here. How do we deal with it? Okay? And I just wanted to share with you about 6 points where we can say, okay, these are some of the things you can look at that might help you to get through the crisis and make sure that you thrive when the crisis is done, okay? Remember, and the moment you decided to be an entrepreneur, you signed up to be the person who does things differently. You signed up to be the person where if things go wrong, guess what? You're always there to sort them out. So this is not new to you, okay? It is just that now everybody else is involved, okay? People don't care mainly when entrepreneurs go through stuff. People don't care, people don't know. But now everybody is in the crisis. Now they're going to have to step up. Now you are going to have to be the leader in helping people to step up. So first things first, I want you to take out some time, especially if you understand that isolation is going to be important. Why? You as an entrepreneur, your health is paramount to survive. So you have got to isolate yourself. You've got to separate yourself. You've got to separate yourself from everybody else to make sure that you break the ability of the coronavirus spreading, okay? So first things first, isolate yourself. Secondly, like I said, there's another video which you can tap into to understand what else you could do. But most importantly, this is now the time where you're going to sit down and say, okay, I have had crises in the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, okay? What skills, what attitudes, what mindset have I used to get out of those, okay? And I want you to sit down and write those down and then say what? Now I've got to amplify this by 10x. Why? It is what is required, because this crisis is going to hit hard. It's going to hit hard, especially for those of you or those of us who are in the business of serving customers and going to customers' premises and doing stuff like that. This is the time for you to say, these are the principles that I've always used. Why? You've always had challenges, okay? But also I want you to go and say, okay, so many companies get challenges and they bounce back. How do they do it? What do those leaders do? Okay, get 2 or 3 of those habits, those principles, write them down and say, I'm going to amplify this and I'm going to take this to the next level. Okay, and since I am the first responder, I am the person who is designed to sort things out at this level. Guess what? I am going to amplify these ones as the first responder to make sure that I hold everybody and make sure everybody gets that positivity that everything is going to be okay. All right, that's number one. Okay, next, I need you to double down on your ability to engage and be in your customer's mind. I need you to be the person right now, because the kind of worry you're going through is exactly what your clients are going through. Okay, I was telling in the other video, I was telling people that I had a client send me a text message at 6. And she was like, hey, dude, man, the strategy we had spoken about was going great, but now with Corona, everything has fallen apart. Okay, now, I am also an entrepreneur. I am also in the same situation, but my job right now is to be the best version of me, but most importantly, to say, hey, when this passes, which will come to pass, when it passes, what do you want to see at the end? How are you going to get out of it? Let us paint a bigger, better, brighter future, because through the crisis, this is where the real men and women stand up. But most importantly, get into that situation where you are so in touch with your client to help them to get through the crisis, so that at the other end of it, they are better off. So you must be much more in touch with them consistently. Hey, what do you see this happening? What do you see happening when we get out of this? How are we going to do from a human resource point of view? How are we going to change our strategy? How are we going to look at, operations and costs and all that time? Okay, now is the time for you to be so much in touch with them. Not selling. This is important. Do not sell anything right now. No, just be there for them, speak with them, and allow them, to use you as a shoulder. Okay, and it doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter. I've got a friend who's got a restaurant. I told him the same very thing. How are you going to still be? There are certain clients of yours who are always at the restaurant. The restaurant is their place to be. What are you going to do for them? What are you going to do to make sure that they still feel that it's not the end of the world? Okay, and it got him thinking. Same thing with the other client. What are you going to do for your clients? What are you going to do with your staff? Okay, it is important. Now, it is also the next point is it is now time for you to evaluate your entire way of doing business. Okay, for us, luckily we were beginning to tilt already to get onto online and do what we have to do online. My consultancy, when I do consultancy and coaching with clients, there's one or two who are still coming to see me personally, but all that now could change. I don't need to see you face to face. We can do it online. We can do it on Skype. We can do it on Zoom. I need you to begin to really take time and say, hey, this is a strategy I've been following. This is what this particular crisis means. It means that I look at my strategy and say, should this ever happen again, will I still be able to thrive? And if not, what do I need to do? Okay, I was just looking, the people who do robot cars, the people who do delivery robot cars are now digging deep, and they're producing more robot cars. And yes, they've had challenges. Yes, initially the society was not accepting, but guess what? Now all of a sudden, robot cars that deliver food and parcels are now becoming what? A thing that what people want to know about. Why? The crisis is forcing them to appreciate and accept that. That comes from people who evaluated the way they did things and said, what are we going to do different? It's the same thing that I'm saying to you as an entrepreneur right now. Evaluate everything. What are you going to do differently? Okay? What are you going to do that is going to put you in a position when we come out of this, you are seen as a person who led, that's number one, but to make sure this never affects you ever again. Okay? Now, next point. As an entrepreneur, in your isolation, now is the time to do three things. Number one, do what I've just said to you, evaluation. Number two, it is time for you to begin to journal and or write and or put your memoirs and or your biography. Begin to write your story. Begin to write your I believe, this is what Les Brown said to me long time ago, okay? Learn something and pass it on. Everybody in the world has the ability to learn, school, earn, job or whatever, pass it on, your own business or consultancy. Now, one of the best ways you can do the passing on is either you write a book, you become a consultant to help other people, or you say, how am I going to teach other people on how they can be like me? There's nothing as pleasurable as passing it on. There's nothing as pleasurable as teaching. But you can't teach something unless you've had time to go down and say, okay, how have I been able to get to this stage? What has made me successful? Where have I failed? Do your artwork right now, or do your outline and say, I am going to find a way to teach this stuff, or I am going to write a book, or I am going to do whatever it is. By the way, what we have done on our world-class speakers, which is going online because we have realized we can't get into people, is we're adding how to write a book. We're getting in partnership with somebody else who is going to teach you how to write a book in a short time. Why are we doing that? Because guess what? It is important that not only do you pass on your stuff, but in teaching others, we grow. In teaching others, we sharpen ourselves. In teaching others, we become better human beings, okay? So right now is the time for you to take some time, write your stuff down, where you were, listen, there's nowhere in the world that they teach better entrepreneurial skills than from an entrepreneur who has been there, done it, and that is you. And now is your time, all right? So take some time, write your stuff down, and find a way to be able to what? To share it with other people. Now, next. There have been some things that you've been thinking about doing. In normal circumstances, you're like, I'll do that at a time which is, at another time. I'll do that at another time. You've thought about great ideas, but the business as usual did not allow you to be able to do that. Now is the time for you to bring one or two of those ideas to the forefront and say, you know what, I have put this off for such a long time. Maybe now is a good time to bring that idea out. Maybe you've always thought, you know, I could tweak this, or I could start this, or I could do something different, and you've always put it back. Guess what? You got 30, 40, 50 days, I don't know how long this is going to last, to bring that back and begin to put meat on it and begin to to say, okay, how can I make this happen? How can I do this? Or how can I bring this to life? Okay, this time is going to be valuable for you in terms of your thinking, in terms of refreshing, in terms of doing what you have to do. Okay, one of the things that I suggest is take some time in isolation to go into a silent retreat for yourself. Okay, spend some time just with you, because you know it's an opportunity as well to just take some reflection and say, hey, you know what, how has life been in the last 6-12 months? Okay, and what could things do or be, or how else could I get better? Now is the time for you to do that. Okay, and then next, the final part is, I want you to imagine, and this is something that I learned from a fantastic mentor of mine. He said, every time there's a crisis, I want you to imagine that it is the first 100 days of you taking over, or the first 100 days of you starting your business, or the first 100 days of you, taking over somebody else's business. What would you focus on? How would you execute? And these are the most important points here. Focus on one or two things that are going to give you a quantum leap after the crisis. Okay? Most of you, it is going to be either on marketing and sales, or it is going to be on product refinement or product development. Okay? Now is the time. Now is the perfect time to go and say, I want to imagine myself, I have 100 days. These 100 days, I am going to make sure that I either produce this, or I refine this, or I do this. And then go out and do a SWOT on it. What is SWOT? Put in 110%. You have time. You don't have to travel anywhere. You have a little bit of time to focus and just go SWOT and just work like crazy in a positive way. Keep everybody around you understanding, knowing that things are going to get better. It is just a small blip. Make sure you're looking after yourself, and I guarantee that you will end up on the other side as a bigger, better, more successful entrepreneur. But also in the meantime, you will also do whatever everybody else needs to do. I feel at a certain stage is to pass on what they know. So until next time, please remember to live strong, live with passion, and know that you have the audacity to live life on your own terms. Until next time, I'll see you after the crisis. Thank you.